Hi, I would like to give you a quick overview of Sentinel Maximum, which is the project that I decided to create for introduction to operating systems. It is a combination of shell scripting and PHP scripting server side. So within the server, we are working with MySQL, PHP and Apache, and a popular framework called Joomla. Joomla is a CMS, but it's very strong in terms of security and very robust. So I decided to use it as a portal. And for this purpose, I then had to extend it with two components actually, and also two plugins. The two components in Joomla components are the big things, which means a lot of code. And so for those, I wrote actually this server side script. It's a PHP script. And I wrote it with a tool that I also created called Component Builder. And it is about 30 lines of code that was written, which is about 207 files and so many folders. Okay, so the purpose of this was to actually create an area where the data that the client actually sends to the cloud can be captured and stored in a way that we can then eventually create a dashboard from that data and draw statistics and all this sort. So it's the beginning of that. And then there's the client side, which is the actual shell scripting. The client has two files that are mainly going to be used. One is to get data, and the purpose would be eventually that the data that we get tells the workstation what type of data we want to gather, and probably puts things in place, scripts and stuff that actually would achieve that. And then the send data is a script that will then act upon that and send the data regularly to the server. Now, to get the send data going, it's simply this script line that you execute in command line. And so this should tell you that currently the script only runs on Linux. And this one would actually do the get data. Now, both of them won't work correctly at this moment. Although I've been trying to push it forward quite eagerly, I have not succeeded. But you can go over the actual bash script and you'll see that we actually set a cron job here, and it automatically then every minute it starts actually executing this script. And generates a secure token to set up a secure tunnel of communication. And then here is the set data set, which for method actually, which still isn't finished. It still needs a lot of work, but it is serving as a foundation from which we can work. And so you can look at these scripts if you like. The same is true also of the actual server-side scripts. It's a very nice structurally set up the way Joomla would want it. So your admin area has its controllers and models and its tables and its views, and all its necessary scripts in its right place. We're also using php-sec-lib, which is a PHP security library, which is really powerful and helps us to manage a lot of the encryption that we would need eventually to make this very functional. Okay, so you'll see that we already set up a place, or sort of a portal for this project called Sentinel our.mx. At the moment it just gives information of where we are in the project, and so we're about 70% finished with the foundation. So what is the actual objective? Well, if I haven't said it already, because I've actually done the video a few times now, monitoring the workstation activity to improve productivity in office hours and sending the details to a centralized place for management to keep track of computers during company hours. So primarily some people work remotely, and instead of them actually sending in timesheets, this script can help us manage their time and activity automatically, which could probably serve to more productivity in terms of not busy with telling us what you did, but just being busy with doing what you should. That's sort of the idea. Okay, that means we also need privacy things in place, which we actually do. So going into the Joomla website, into the backend, I currently have two scripts running here. Member Manager is another tool or another component that extends Joomla for the purpose of making it, well, easy to manage different type of member groups that has access to only certain things and can create only certain things. So it's a little bit of a permissional layer, which helps quite a bit with managing this type of task. And then we have the Sentinel script that I showed you, which you can also then see. I've already created this one workstation. And the way that it works, every time that workstation calls in, it sends a data set. And a data set then would actually have that workstation linked in as the owner of it, and could have as much as 100 lines of data and data types. So this type, well, not really data type, but what type of log is this? So we can create different type of logs, which then also is done here. We have this type area, so you can go here and create the types, and then basically those data sets are not saved in a JSON type of object. It's actually saved in a separate database table, which makes it very easy, scalable. So this is where the data sets can be viewed, but they're actually stored in a more robust way. So that's a little bit of the backend in action. And I mentioned something about privacy. Now Joomla has a privacy suite, and what that means is that you can actually create plugins like we did here for Member Manager and for Sentinel, which then tells Joomla what information in these components are related to a user. And then when a user makes a request, you see that has this privacy suite. Now currently this one isn't active, but it has functionality where you can activate all various areas, and then the user can see all the data that's being captured, and the user can request to download all that data, and the user can actually request those data to also be anonymized. This is part of what I'm still thinking on how to manage all that, because surely we want to keep data that helps us actually work out how many hours we should pay someone, but we also want to be clear and then open about what are we actually capturing, and so this is where I'm at with that. It's a little bit of a challenge, this task, this project, and one of its biggest challenges is the fact that it's so large and it actually comprises of so many, parts, which is why I couldn't finish it. Anyway, so that's really it. Sentinel Maximum in the making. Thanks for watching.